What better way to spend Halloween than driving a nice Grenadier? Trick or treat. Remember the good old days back when you could buy a real honest-to-goodness 4x4 designed for off-roading? Like this old Toyota FJ Cruiser? Or the old Land Rovers? Remember these? Today, the only vehicle you can get off the showroom floor that's really intended for the outdoors is the Jeep Wrangler, preferably the Rubicon. That is until a few years ago when the Ineos Grenadier showed up, a true rugged off-road vehicle designed for the sticks first, the pavement secondary. Well, let's see what Wikipedia has to say about it. Sometimes they're accurate, sometimes they're not. The Grenadier was designed to be a modern replacement for the original Land Rover Defender with a boxy bodywork, a steel ladder chassis, beam axles with long travel, progressive rate coil spring suspension, front and rear, and powered by a BMW diesel or gasoline 6-turbo engine. It doesn't tell you Ineos is a multi-billion-dollar company worth about $55 billion, they say. 25,000 employees, they say, making all kinds of products. Too long to list here. Since this vehicle has only been out for a few years, finding a dealer can be a chore. If you're in the Southwest, like I am, you have a dealer in Las Vegas. And if you live in Arizona, you'll find one in the Phoenix metro area. Arrowhead Grenadier. I guess we'll have to give them a little call to get a test vehicle. So let's do it. By the way, here's the price tag you'll be looking at. About the same as you pay for a Land Rover Defender. The Grenadier is popular in Europe and the UK, but here in the United States, they're still building dealers. Here's the Aeroship in Arizona, under construction. It's will be ready in 4 weeks. Yeah, I don't think so. So here it is in person. I'm going to get the shade because it's hot outside, and black paint attracts heat like a magnet. So let's start with what I like. Number one, this is a steel body, I'm told. Must be, because they told me I could jump up and down on the hood. It's not going to bend. I'm not going to do that. But try that with some of these other vehicles nowadays with all their thin aluminum. Number two, I like the styling. A lot of people think it was a Mercedes-Benz, but nope. I like the steel wheels. No nonsense, no fancy hubcaps, no lowrider system. Simple, heavy-duty steel wheels, the way it should be. And we have dual doors, a small door for reaching in, grabbing stuff, with a large door, and I like the swing-out design the way it should be. None of this one solid door swinging out and banging someone's car in back of you, or blocking, you can't get the loading on the curb, or the stupid tailgate nonsense. This is the way a true off-road vehicle should be, and they got it right. And then here are the tools. Should you get flat? I hope I don't. These doors are solid too. Yeah, like a bank vault. But there's one thing I like more than anything. You get real knobs, switches, buttons. None of this punching the info screen garbage. Well, there's a little bit of that, but not enough to worry about. Nice and solid. And wait, there's more. And up here on the roof, more buttons. If you're going off-roading, off-road button, then you have locking differential front, locking differential rear. Or you have the locking differential center. Good old-fashioned heavy-duty knobs, none of this push-button nonsense. And a real manual parking brake, the way it should be. Your stock BMW shifter, because it has a BMW transmission, of course. And the air conditioning controls don't get any simpler than this. 3 knobs. Most of these do not come with heated seats, which is fine with me, but this is a deluxe model. It does have heated seats. No power seats, which is fine with me. I like the attention to detail. These little metal devices they have here so you don't accidentally hit the hazard light. Now, if this was a GM or Ford, the cost accountants would say, take this off, it costs $2 per vehicle. Too much. Virtually, cost was no object when making this vehicle, apparently. One thing I don't like on the deluxe models, you get these silly little, I don't know what these are, sunroofs, moonroofs, windroof, one on the left, one on the right, which lets the sun in right in your face. These serve no purpose whatsoever except to pee me off. Why they would put this on, these need to go. Need to go bye-bye. And no auto-dimming mirror, just a simple flick manual. Thank you. And my favorite under the hood is a BMW 3-liter inline 6-cylinder with the best engines in the world. The same one used in the Z4 and the Toyota Supra. Now those have 380 horsepower approximately. This is detuned around 281 horsepower. Since this beast weighs around 6,000 pounds, I would hope for the 380 horsepower, but perhaps they thought it would guzzle too much gas. But this one gets 14 mpg according to the window stickers. We'll show you later. So I don't know, this is what they wanted to do. So it's a very good engine regardless of the tune. Outside the USA you'll have a BMW diesel, but not for us in America because of emissions standards. They start around 70 grand, but this is the Trailmaster, has more goodies. A3000 base, and here we have all the add-ons. I never problem with the light here. I'll just put it on here so you can read it. But of course, the dealer add-ons jack the price up a bit more. There's the official fuel economy rating. We'll see if we can do a bit better. It's not rated for crash protection, but I think this 310 monster is going to offer quite a bit of protection if you get hit by a Fiat anyway. The only real competitor for this vehicle is the Land Rover Defender, which we tested previously, about the same price bracket, except they're inline 6, which is pretty much the same design as this, puts out something like 395 horsepower. We got around 18 to 22 mpg. But I think it was a bit lighter than this. Just a word about the steering. Anytime you have a vehicle with steering that's designed for the street, it's probably not going to perform very well off-road. Anytime you have steering that's designed for off-road, which will be kind of vague and soft, it probably won't work on the street. If you've ever driven a Jeep Wrangler, you know what I'm talking about. Very sloppy and loose steering. I'm told this is like 5 times factor. It takes some very much getting used to. We're going to find out. As you can see, the camera system's a bit on the small side, but well, it's better than having a giant info screen that's going to crack under pressure, so I'm not complaining. One word of warning. These vehicles have something called a speed limit warning. The camera sees the speed limit 25 miles per hour. You do 26 or above, it sets off alarms. This is because of the United Kingdom, where a lot of these are sold rules and they didn't change it for American driving. It drives me nuts. Fortunately, it's easy to disconnect. You press this and then turn it off. Unfortunately, you have to do this every time you restart the vehicle, which is a pain in the butt, but at least you can disconnect it. And that silly start-stop system, you can disconnect that too. Thus far, those are my 2 gripes. This speed limiter and the stupid sunroof thing here, whatever you want to call these plexiglass holes in the roof. These need to go. This needs to go, but they're very minor. No big deal. And since these are optional, it's easy. Just don't buy them. Get the different model. One thing we do, we get vehicles and check and see how the ride is. And for here, we have our speed bump set up. Let's go over a couple, see what happens. A bit of jumping on the rear, but pretty smooth. I didn't feel too much. Here comes bump number 2. Very impressive. Bump number 3. And the nasty one. This one's a real humdinger. Very smooth and very impressive. One thing I've noticed, the U-turn on this is super wide. Whew, almost like a Hummer H1. Good grief. If you're going to turn on a city street, make sure you plan ahead. And if you're going off-roading, don't plan on making the U-turns on those narrow dirt trails either. But we haven't gotten into the dirt yet. That comes later. but the turning radius on this is extremely wide. Very. I gotta say, for 281 horsepower, pulling 3 tons, this vehicle moves out pretty good. Lots of low-end grunt, probably because of the turbo that they left on. It's no slouch. Top speed is limited at 99 miles per hour, but why would you want to go any quicker than something like this? And the ride is very comfortable, but we saw that on the speed bumps already. Alright, the power steering. Well, yeah, if you ever driven a Jeep Wrangler with the steering and no center field, very vague, it's like this, about 4 or 5 times worse. There's no center field at all. I'm wandering all over the place. Of course, you'll get used to it as you drive along, I think. This takes a little bit of practice. The only real drawback is you're constantly having to make corrections. From left to right, right to left, right to left, right to left, left to right. Some people get used to it, some people don't. As you notice, there's no speedometer here. It's way over here. I've heard a lot of complaints on the internet about the climate system being too hot or too cold, nothing in between, but I don't have an issue with mine. Works absolutely perfect. As expected, something that's shaped like a bread box. There's a lot of wind noise on the highway, maybe around 75 miles per hour, but fortunately, this is a pretty thick body, and the wind noise doesn't come in the cabin that bad. As far as engine noise, 75 miles per hour, you're pulling around 2,000 RPM. And with the torque output maxing out around 1750 RPM, if I recall, you always have plenty of power for passing, that's for sure. And with the 3-ton mass, stability is excellent, not affected by crosswinds at all. And if you start turning off the safety nannies, which is kind of a pain in the butt to do, you get all kinds of orange warning lights on the screen here. Annoying. On curved roads like this vehicle corners pretty good, but if you want to practice learning this goofy steering setup, you'll get some good exercise this way. Very interesting steering experience doing this. Takes a lot of concentration. But then you should be concentrating anyway when you're driving, right? This is a very nasty washboard road with all kinds of bumps and dips. The suspension can be torn up if you're using a conventional truck driving on a road like this, but there's an awful lot of noise, but the suspension is doing a very, very nice job absorbing all the impacts. This thing's built very, very well and very rugged. And on the positive side, I'm not feeling any vibrations coming through the steering wheel setup at all, which is why they have it set up to be very, very vague, because it's designed to be off-road like we're doing now. And it works very, very well. Didn't I say very well earlier? Okay, works excellent. Ah yes, this is what the steering is made for. We got such nice traction, we don't need to engage the locking differentials. Take a little break here, and I've got to mention I like this ladder that climbs up on the roof. If you do it from the side, you have handrails to grab onto. And we have some free advertising here on the spare tire cover. There's an off-road mode that disconnects all of the safety nannies. Well, a lot of them, it also allows you to drive without your seatbelt on. I haven't pressed it yet, but I might eventually. Like I mentioned earlier, the off-road ability of this is fantastic, but the turning radius is very wide. Turning around to go to another road is a pain in the butt, like the Hummer H1. When I was in the Army, they said, don't worry about turning radius, just mow down all the trees and don't worry about it. But I don't think I want to mow down all the trees. I may get upset when I bring it back all dented up with branches sticking out of the radiator. The first 30 miles of my road test was city commuting, and the computer showed 17.8 mpg, which is far better than the 14 mpg claimed. Should be interesting to see what it is at the end of our drive. I just noticed something. The sun visors do not slide out. So you have this big gap in the window burning my face. You gotta be kidding me, come on. This is a design flaw right here that needs to be corrected. No big deal, not a deal killer, but come on, how long have we been making cars on the planet here? They should know better. I guess it doesn't matter because I'm also getting it from the top with this silly glass panel I bitched about earlier. If I buy one of these and get this, I would totally black it out. I mean black it out totally. There's no reason to have this. Unless you want to stare at the moon at night when you're drunk or something. I've said it before in the video, I'll say it again, I'm very impressed with this motor and how strong it pulls. Never feels underpowered. Eventually, somebody somewhere is going to do an engine swap, take out this 281 horsepower version and get the 380 horsepower of the Supra, and stick it in there, and it'll be very interesting to see the results. Someone will do it eventually, bet on it. Also, the more I use this power steering system off-road, the more I like it. Definitely miles and miles the opposite of what it's like on pavement. It works absolutely perfect on roads like this. But that's what it was designed for, right? Now comes the fun part. Park it out in the street and watch the crowd gather around because they want to see what this thing is. Already had a bunch of people want to take pictures of it. You're very popular when you drive one of these. For now. Maybe when they sell a lot more, that won't be that way anymore. So our fuel economy today, with all the highway driving, off-roading, city driving, etc., 15.5 mpg. Still better than the 14 claimed, I'm not complaining. As far as this vehicle goes, what do I think? A lot of positive things to say. The build quality is excellent. This is a very, very sweet engine. No complaints there. Fantastic off-road ability. And I love all these knob switches and buttons on the instrument panels. It would be nice if all manufacturers did this. And any complaints you have about the power steering on the pavement go away real quick when you're in the dirt. Minor complaints, the safety nannies are too hard to disconnect. Some of them shouldn't be there in the first place. And these glass panels on the roof definitely need to go. The only major complaint I think anyone will have is the turning circle that is so wide on this, just like a Hummer H1, but that's the way it is on this vehicle. You'll just have to adapt. Overall, this is an excellent vehicle. I think they're going to sell a lot of these. Now, if you'd like to see the headlight tested night drive, we did that as a separate video. Here's a link for that coming up. Just click and watch, you're already here.